Who was America's public enemy No. 1 feet in the 1920s and 30s? John Dillinger. John Dillinger was a notorious American gangster during the Great Depression era. He gained fame for a series of bank robberies and daring escapes, leading the FBI to label him public enemy number 1, symbolizing the era's challenges with organized crime. What is carrageen or Irish moss? Seaweed. Carrageen, also known as Irish moss, is a species of red algae, seaweed, primarily found along the Atlantic coasts of Europe and North America. It is widely used in the food industry as a gelling, thickening, and stabilizing agent, particularly in dairy products and desserts. What is the general term for a 3-paneled altarpiece? Triptych. A triptych is a work of art, typically a panel painting, divided into 3 sections. These sections are usually hinged together so that the 2 outer panels can be folded inwards over the central panel, a format commonly used for altarpieces in medieval Christian art. The French town of Montélimar is famous for the production of which confection? Nougat. Montélimar, a town in southeastern France, is internationally renowned for its traditional nougat. This confection is made from honey, sugar, nuts, typically almonds and pistachios, and whipped egg whites, and has been a significant part of the region's culinary heritage and economy for centuries. The American woodchuck is also known by what name? Groundhog. The American woodchuck, Marmota monarchs, is commonly known as a groundhog. It is a rodent of the family Sciuridae, belonging to the group of large ground squirrels known as marmots. Groundhogs are known for their burrowing habits and are often associated with Groundhog Day folklore. Which creature has a symbiotic relationship with the Egyptian plover? Crocodile. The Egyptian plover, Pluvianus aegyptius, is known for its unique symbiotic relationship with the crocodile. This bird cleans parasites and food remnants from the crocodile's mouth, benefiting from a food source while the crocodile receives dental hygiene. This mutualistic interaction is a classic example of co-evolution in ecology. Which play begins, "Now fair Hippolyta, our nuptial hour draws on apace"? A Midsummer Night's Dream. This iconic opening line belongs to William Shakespeare's pastoral comedy, A Midsummer Night's Dream. The play revolves around the adventures of 4 young Athenian lovers and a group of amateur actors, all manipulated by fairies in a moonlit forest. It explores themes of love, illusion, and the magic of nature. In Shakespeare's Othello, what does the phrase, "the beast with 2 backs" signify? Sexual intercourse. The phrase, "the beast with 2 backs," is a vivid and vulgar metaphor used by Iago in William Shakespeare's tragedy, Othello. It is a derogatory way to refer to sexual intercourse, specifically implying an animalistic and illicit act, highlighting Iago's manipulative and cynical nature. Who took the name Sebastian Melmoth while living in exile? Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde, the renowned Irish playwright and poet, adopted the pseudonym Sebastian Melmoth during his exile in France after his release from prison. The name was a combination of Saint Sebastian, a martyr, and Melmoth the Wanderer, a Gothic novel character representing a deal with the devil. This choice reflected his personal suffering and sense of ostracism. The Talmud was written in Hebrew and which other language? Aramaic. The Talmud is a central text of Rabbinic Judaism, primarily composed of the Mishnah and Gemara. It is traditionally written in a combination of Hebrew, specifically Mishnaic Hebrew, and Aramaic. Aramaic was the common spoken language of Jews in the Middle East during the period of its compilation. Who said, "If only I had known, I should have become a watchmaker"? Albert Einstein. This quote is attributed to Albert Einstein, the renowned theoretical physicist famous for his theory of relativity. It is often cited to reflect a humorous self-reflection or perhaps a lament about the complexities and responsibilities that came with his scientific prominence, contrasting it with a simpler, more precise profession. What was the only World War II battle fought in South America? Battle of the River Plate. The Battle of the River Plate, fought in December 1939, was the first major naval battle of World War II and the only one to take place in South American waters. It involved the British Royal Navy cruisers HMS Ajax, HMS Exeter, and HMNZS Achilles engaging the German pocket battleship Admiral Graf Spee off the coast of Uruguay. The battle ended with the scuttling of the German vessel. Common and pygmy are the only species of which large mammal? Hippopotamus. The Hippopotamus amphibius, and the pygmy hippopotamus, Chuaropsis liberiensis, are the only two extant species in the family Hippopotamidae. While both are semi-aquatic mammals native to Africa, the common hippopotamus is significantly larger and more widespread than its smaller, more reclusive pygmy counterpart, which is primarily found in West African forests. Helen Graham is the eponymous heroine of which Bronte novel? The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. The Tenant of Wildfell Hall is Annie Bronte's second and final novel, published in 1848. It is renowned for its proto-feminist themes and its unflinching portrayal of marital abuse and a woman's struggle for independence in Victorian society. Who refuses Mr. St. John Rivers' offer of marriage? Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre, the protagonist of Charlotte Bronte's 1847 novel, refuses Mr. St. John Rivers' proposal of marriage. Her decision underscores her desire for a marriage based on love and equality, reflecting her strong independent spirit. We have motorways, the Germans have autobahns. What does Italy have? Autostrade. Italy's national network of controlled access toll roads is known as autostrade. These are high-speed highways designed for efficient long-distance travel, similar to motorways in the UK and autobahns in Germany. Which city is the eastern terminus of the Trans-Siberian Railway? Vladivostok. Vladivostok serves as the eastern terminus of the Trans-Siberian Railway, a vital rail link spanning over 9,000 kilometers across Russia. This city is a major port and naval base on the Pacific Ocean, strategically important for Russia's access to the Pacific. Which prime minister lost the North American colonies for Britain? Lord North. Lord North was the Prime Minister of Great Britain during the American War of Independence, 1775 to 1783. His administration's policies and failure to suppress the rebellion ultimately led to Britain's loss of the 13 colonies and the establishment of the United States. In which capital city were the 1928 Summer Olympic Games held? Amsterdam. The 1928 Summer Olympics, officially known as the Games of the Ninth Olympiad, were held in Amsterdam, Netherlands. This event marked the first time the Olympic flame was lit during the Games and also introduced the Parade of Nations, establishing key traditions. The Ivy League university Princeton is in which U.S. state? New Jersey. Princeton University, a distinguished member of the Ivy League, is located in Princeton, New Jersey. Founded in 1746 as the College of New Jersey, it is the fourth oldest institution of higher education in the United States, renowned for its academic excellence. The Ivy League university Yale is in which U.S. state? Connecticut. Yale University, another prominent Ivy League institution, is situated in New Haven, Connecticut. Established in 1701 as the Collegiate School, it is the third oldest institution of higher education in the United States, known globally for its diverse academic programs. A traditional gift for a 20th wedding anniversary should be made of what? China. Traditionally, the 20th wedding anniversary is symbolically associated with the gift of china. This tradition signifies the delicate beauty and long-lasting durability of a marriage that has flourished for 2 decades. In what county are both Woburn Abbey and Leighton Buzzard Light Railway? Bedfordshire. Woburn Abbey, a historic country house, and the Leighton Buzzard Light Railway are both notable landmarks located within the county of Bedfordshire, England. Woburn Abbey serves as the ancestral seat of the Dukes of Bedford, while the railway is a well-known heritage attraction. What is 0.625 when converted to a common fraction? 5/8. A common fraction, also known as a vulgar fraction, represents a part of a whole, written as a numerator over a denominator. To convert the decimal 0.625, it can be expressed as 625 1/1000ths, which simplifies to 5/8 by dividing both numerator and denominator by their greatest common divisor, 125. V is the chemical symbol for which element? Vanadium. Vanadium is a hard, silvery gray, ductile, and malleable transition metal. It is primarily used as an alloying agent, especially with steel, to enhance strength, toughness, and heat resistance, finding applications in tools and structural components. Often referred to as golden chain, which genus of small tree is known to be poisonous in all its parts? Laburnum. Laburnum, commonly known as the golden chain tree, is a genus of flowering plants in the legume family. All parts of the tree, particularly the seeds, contain toxic alkaloids like cytosine, which can cause severe poisoning if ingested by humans or animals, leading to symptoms such as vomiting, convulsions, and potentially death. Which genus of flowering plants belonging to the carnation family is commonly known as baby's breath? Gypsophila. Gypsophila is a genus of flowering plants in the carnation family, Caryophyllaceae, widely recognized for its delicate, cloud-like clusters of small white or pink flowers. Commonly known as baby's breath, it is frequently used in floral arrangements as a filler and has also been explored for its saponin content in some traditional applications. What motorway links the M1 at Rotherham to the M62 near Goole? M18. The M18 motorway is a key transport artery in England, connecting the M1 at Rotherham to the M62 near Goole. It facilitates regional connectivity and freight movement across Yorkshire. Which monarch was a great-great-grandfather? Henry VII. Henry VII, also known as Henry Tudor, was the first monarch of the House of Tudor, reigning from 1485 to 1509. His victory at the Battle of Bosworth Field ended the Wars of the Roses and established a new dynasty in England. What is the only word uttered by the raven in Edgar Allan Poe's 1845 poem, The Raven? Nevermore. The Raven is a narrative poem by American writer Edgar Allan Poe, published in 1845. It is famous for its musicality, stylized language, and supernatural atmosphere, with the raven's repeated utterance of nevermore becoming a hallmark of the poem's melancholic and despairing tone. What name is given to young jackrabbits, lagomorphs which are not true rabbits, less than a year old? Leverets. Leveret is the term used for a young hare, including jackrabbits. Hares and jackrabbits are members of the family Leporidae, but they belong to a different genus, Lepus, than true rabbits, often having longer ears and legs and being born precocial. Who was the Roman goddess of the hearth and the household? Vesta. Vesta was the Roman goddess of the hearth, home, and family in ancient Roman religion. She was rarely depicted in human form, instead often represented by the sacred fire that burned in her temples, particularly at the Vestal Virgin's Temple in Rome. Which poet wrote about the charms of Miss Joan Hunter Dunn? John Betjeman. Sir John Betjeman was an English poet, writer, and broadcaster known for his poetic evocations of English life and landscapes. His poem, A Subaltern's Love Song, features the character Miss Joan Hunter Dunn, reflecting his characteristic blend of humor, nostalgia, and social commentary. Which autumn-flowering bulbous plant is sometimes known as the belladonna lily? Amaryllis. Amaryllis belladonna, commonly known as the belladonna lily or naked lady lily, is a popular ornamental plant native to South Africa. It is characterized by its large, showy, fragrant pink trumpet-shaped flowers that bloom in autumn before the leaves appear, a characteristic known as hysterinty. What chemical term describes a compound that has had the water removed? Anhydride. An anhydride is a chemical compound obtained by removing water from another compound. For example, a non-metal oxide, like CO2 or SO3, is an acid anhydride as it forms an acid when reacted with water, while a metal oxide, like Ca, is a basic anhydride as it forms a base with water. The Adam's apple helps to protect the walls and the front section of what bodily part? Larynx. The Adam's apple is a colloquial term for the laryngeal prominence, a protrusion of the thyroid cartilage surrounding the larynx. This cartilaginous structure provides protection for the vocal cords within the larynx and plays a role in voice modulation, becoming more prominent during puberty in males. What part of a horse takes the strain of the collar? Withers. The withers are the ridge between the shoulder blades of a horse, or other equids. This anatomical point is important for measuring the height of a horse and is where the saddle or collar of a harness rests, distributing the weight and strain effectively. According to legend, which Greek philosopher slept in a tub? Diogenes. Diogenes of Sinope was an ancient Greek philosopher and one of the founders of Cynic philosophy. He is famously known for his ascetic lifestyle and for reportedly living in a large ceramic jar or tub in the marketplace of Athens, advocating for self-sufficiency and a return to nature. What acid does the stomach use to break down food? Hydrochloric acid. The human stomach produces hydrochloric acid, HCl, a strong acid, to create an acidic environment necessary for the activation of digestive enzymes like pepsin and to kill harmful bacteria ingested with food. This process is crucial for protein digestion. In which county is Bosworth Field, site of the famous Battle of 1485? Leicestershire. The Battle of Bosworth Field, fought on August 22, 1485, in Leicestershire, England, was the decisive battle of the Wars of the Roses. It resulted in the death of King Richard III and the establishment of the Tudor dynasty with Henry VII. Charles Dickens was born in which English town in 1812? Portsmouth. Charles Dickens, one of England's most celebrated novelists, was born in Portsmouth in 1812. His birthplace is a significant fact in understanding his early life and the potential influences on his universally acclaimed literary works. Which Asian city shares its name with a river on the Isle of Wight? Medina. Medina is a major city in the Hejaz region of Saudi Arabia and one of the two holiest cities in Islam, historically significant as the place where the Prophet Muhammad established the first Muslim community. It is also known as the Enlightened City. 6 states of the USA have mountains whose names include what animal? Bear. Several US states, including California, Colorado, and North Carolina, feature mountains or peaks named Bear Mountain or similar. These names commonly reflect the historical presence of bears in the respective regions, a frequent occurrence in geographical nomenclature across the United States. When did Japan officially surrender, bringing World War II to a close? September. World War II officially ended with Japan's surrender, which occurred on September 2, 1945, aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. This surrender followed the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the Soviet Union's declaration of war against Japan. Which Scottish king died when his horse fell from a cliff at Kinghan, Fife? Alexander III. King Alexander III of Scotland died tragically in March 1286 when his horse stumbled off a cliff near Kinghan, Fife, during a storm. His death without a clear successor plunged Scotland into a succession crisis, eventually leading to the Wars of Scottish Independence. In 1973, which country joined the EEC simultaneously with Britain and Ireland? Denmark. In 1973, the European Economic Community, EEC, expanded to include the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Denmark. This first enlargement marked a significant step in European integration, bringing new member states into the economic bloc. What term describes the property of a metal that allows it to be drawn out into wire? Ductility. Ductility is a mechanical property of materials, particularly metals, that allows them to be stretched or drawn into a thin wire without losing toughness. This property is crucial in manufacturing processes for electrical wiring and various other applications. By what common name is hydrated magnesium sulfate known? Epsom salts. Hydrated magnesium sulfate 7-hydrogen oxide, is commonly known as Epsom salts. It is a chemical compound often used in baths for its therapeutic properties, as a laxative, and in gardening as a soil amendment to provide magnesium and sulfur to plants. What is the SI-derived unit of radioactivity? Becquerel. The becquerel, BQ, is the SI-derived unit of radioactivity, named after Henry Becquerel, who discovered radioactivity. 1 becquerel is defined as the activity of a quantity of radioactive material in which 1 nucleus decays per second. Whose law states that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion? Parkinson. Parkinson's law, coined by Cyril Northcote Parkinson in 1955, states that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. This principle often describes the inefficiency in bureaucracies where tasks seem to become more complex or time-consuming simply because there is more time allocated for them. Which U.S. author, 1889 to 1961, served briefly as an ambulance driver in World War I? Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway, a prominent American novelist and Nobel Prize laureate, served as an ambulance driver for the Red Cross during World War I in Italy. His experiences on the front lines, where he was severely wounded, profoundly influenced his literary work, including his novel, A Farewell to Arms. Who was the tallest British Prime Minister since World War I? James Callaghan. James Callaghan served as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1976 to 1979. Standing at 6 feet 1 inch, 1.85 meters, he holds the distinction of being the tallest British Prime Minister since the end of World War I. Which Spanish king dispatched the Armada to conquer England? Philip II. King Philip II of Spain, a devout Catholic, launched the Spanish Armada in 1588 with the aim of overthrowing Queen Elizabeth I and restoring Catholicism in England. However, the invasion ultimately failed due to English naval resistance and severe weather conditions. What is the chemical symbol for manganese? Mn. Manganese is a metallic element with atomic number 25. Its chemical symbol, Mn, is derived from its name, and it is an important industrial metal primarily used in steel production and various alloys. Which type of flower derives its name from the French phrase for lion's tooth? Dandelion. The name dandelion originates from the French dent de lion, which translates to lion's tooth. This refers to the sharply toothed leaves of the common flowering plant. What type of journey was the central theme of Jerome K. Jerome's 1900 novel, Three Men on the Bummel? Cycling tour. Three Men on the Bummel is a humorous novel by Jerome K. Jerome, published in 1900, serving as a sequel to Three Men in a Boat. It chronicles the misadventures of three friends embarking on a cycling tour through Germany. Who authored the 1748 novel, Fanny Hill? John Cleland. Fanny Hill, or Memoirs of a Woman of Pleasure, is an epistolary novel written by John Cleland, published in 1748. It is notable for being one of the most prosecuted books in English literature history due to its explicit content, often considered an early work of erotic literature. What was the title of Peter Wright's controversial 1987 book? Spycatcher. Spycatcher is the controversial 1987 memoir by Peter Wright, a former assistant director of MI5, the British counter-intelligence agency. Its publication sparked significant legal battles as the British government attempted to prevent its release on national security grounds. What was the first name of the author, Ems Lewes, who wrote Gentlemen Prefer Blondes? Anita. Anita Loos was an American screenwriter, playwright, and author, best known for her satirical novel, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, published in 1925. The novel satirizes the Jazz Age and American socialite culture through the diary entries of a flapper named Lorelei Lee. Which French statesman, 1758 to 1794, was known by the nickname, the Incorruptible? Maximilien Robespierre. Maximilien Robespierre was a prominent figure during the French Revolution, known for his radical Jacobin views and his role in the Reign of Terror. His unwavering commitment to his political ideals and austere personal life earned him the epithet, the Incorruptible. Which detective was responsible for leading the pursuit of the great train robber, Ronnie Biggs? Jack Slipper. Detective Chief Superintendent Jack Slipper was the Scotland Yard officer who spearheaded the investigation and pursuit of Ronnie Biggs, a notorious participant in the 1963 Great Train robbery. Biggs became famous for his dramatic escape from prison and subsequent life as a fugitive for many years. What is the alternative name for the water moccasin, the USA's only venomous water snake? Cottonmouth. The cottonmouth, Achcastrodon piscivorus, is a venomous pit viper found primarily in the southeastern United States. It is semi-aquatic and known for the white, cotton-like interior of its mouth, which it displays as a warning when threatened. What was the title used by the British Prime Minister from 1828 to 1830? Duke of Wellington. Arthur Wellesley, the first Duke of Wellington, served as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1828 to 1830. He was a prominent military general, famously defeating Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo, before embarking on a distinguished political career. What name is given to a circle with a line through it on a ship's side? Plimsoll line. The Plimsoll line is a mark on a ship's hull indicating the legal limit to which a vessel may be loaded, ensuring its stability and safety. Named after Samuel Plimsoll, who campaigned for its introduction in the 19th century, it varies based on factors like water type and season. Around which city did Charles I make his headquarters during the Civil War? Oxford. During the English Civil War, 1642 to 1651, King Charles I established his primary headquarters in the city of Oxford. Oxford became the royalist capital, serving as a crucial military, administrative, and political center for the king's forces. What became the world's tallest building in 1311 AD? Lincoln Cathedral. Lincoln Cathedral, located in England, held the title of the world's tallest building for over 200 years, from 1311 until its central spire collapsed in 1549. Its construction represented a significant achievement in medieval Gothic architecture and engineering. In which British city can you find the Spinnaker Tower? Portsmouth. The Spinnaker Tower is a prominent observation tower located in Portsmouth, England, offering expansive views of the city, its harbour, and the Solent. Standing at 170 meters, it is a modern landmark symbolizing Portsmouth's maritime heritage. Odette is the central character of which ballet? Swan Lake. Odette is the tragic central character in Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky's iconic ballet, Swan Lake. She is a princess transformed into a swan by the sorcerer Rothba, a role that demands exceptional grace and dramatic intensity from the ballerina. Which ballet is subtitled, The Girl with the Enamel Eyes? Copperlear. Copperlear, a comic ballet with music by Leo Delibes, is famously subtitled, The Girl with the Enamel Eyes. The plot revolves around a young man who falls in love with a life-sized doll named Copperlear, believing her to be a real person. What compelled Nijinsky to retire from ballet at a comparatively young age? Mental illness. Vaslav Nijinsky, a legendary ballet dancer and choreographer of the early 20th century, was renowned for his virtuosity and intense performances. His brilliant career was tragically cut short due to the onset of severe mental illness, specifically schizophrenia, which led to his early retirement from the stage. Which river did the English army cross before fighting the Battle of Agincourt 700 years ago? The Somme. The Battle of Agincourt was a pivotal English victory in the Hundred Years' War, fought on October 25, 1415. The English forces, led by King Henry V, had marched through northern France, notably crossing the river Somme, before engaging the larger French army near the village of Agincourt. In which month of 2015 did the 800th anniversary of the signing of the Magna Carta occur? June. The Magna Carta, a landmark document in English constitutional history, was sealed by King John of England on June 15, 1215. The year 2015 marked its 800th anniversary, a globally recognized milestone for its enduring influence on concepts of legal rights and limited government. Which is the most populous island on Earth? Java. Java, an island in Indonesia, holds the distinction of being the most populous island globally, with a population exceeding 145 million people. Its dense population makes it a significant contributor to Indonesia's demography and economy. Which is the most populous island outside of Asia? Great Britain. Great Britain, the largest island within the British Isles, is the most populous island situated outside the continent of Asia. It is home to a substantial majority of the United Kingdom's population, including its capital city, London. Which is the most populous island in the Americas? Hispaniola. Hispaniola, an island located in the Caribbean Sea, is recognized as the most populous island across the Americas. It is uniquely divided into two sovereign nations, Haiti to the west and the Dominican Republic to the east. Alphabetically, which is the last element in the periodic table? Zirconium. Zirconium, Zr, is a silvery, ductile, and malleable transition metal with atomic number 40. While it is alphabetically the last element, it's important for its applications in nuclear reactors due to its low neutron capture cross-section and its use in corrosion-resistant alloys. What type of transport, patented in 1893, fell into disuse after 1937? Zeppelin. Zeppelins were rigid airships developed by Count Ferdinand von Zeppelin in Germany. They were prominent for passenger and military transport in the early 20th century. Their decline was largely precipitated by the Hindenburg disaster in 1937, which severely damaged public confidence in airship travel. To which animal does the adjective lapine apply? Rabbit. The adjective lapine is used to describe anything pertaining to rabbits, much like bovine for cattle or canine for dogs. This term is often encountered in zoological contexts or literary descriptions. Egyptian, banded, and king are all types of which snake? Cobra. Cobras are a group of venomous snakes belonging to the family Elapidae, known for their distinctive hood. The Egyptian cobra, banded cobra, and king cobra, Ophiophagus hanna, are some of the well-known species, with the king cobra being the world's longest venomous snake. Which type of bats generally does not use echolocation to find food? Fruit bats. While most microbats use echolocation to navigate and hunt, megabats, commonly known as fruit bats or flying foxes, primarily rely on their excellent eyesight and sense of smell to locate ripe fruit. Some fruit bats produce clicking sounds, but this is not typically for echolocation. In 1941, Joseph Jacobs was the last spy to be executed where? Tower of London. Joseph Jacobs was a German spy captured in England during World War II. He was executed by firing squad at the Tower of London on August 15, 1941, making him the last person to be executed at this historic landmark. In 1830, William Watts and George Davis were the last pirates to be hanged where? Execution Dock. William Watts and George Davis were executed at Execution Dock in Wapping, London, in 1830, making them the last known pirates to face this fate at the historical site. Execution Dock, on the River Thames, was the traditional place for the execution of maritime criminals for over 400 years. In 1783, John Austin was the last highwayman to be hanged where? Tyburn. John Austin was the last highwayman executed at Tyburn, London, in 1783. Tyburn, near present-day Marble Arch, was a prominent site for public executions in London for centuries, and its closure marked a shift in the location and nature of capital punishment in England. Members of which family won 5 Nobel Prizes? Curie. The Curie family is renowned for their extraordinary scientific achievements, collectively winning 5 Nobel Prizes. Marie Curie, her husband Pierre Curie, their daughter Irene Joliot-Curie, and son-in-law Frédéric Joliot-Curie all received Nobel Prizes, along with Marie's second son-in-law, Henri Lebouis, who accepted the Nobel Peace Prize on behalf of UNICEF. In 1802, which president of the Royal Society produced a crude electric light? Humphrey Davy. In 1802, Humphrey Davy, then president of the Royal Society, demonstrated the first electric arc lamp. By connecting wires to a battery and a piece of charcoal, he produced a brilliant arc of light, marking a crucial step towards the development of modern electric lighting. Which river flows through Rochester and Maidstone? Medway. The River Medway is a significant waterway in southeast England, flowing through Kent. Rochester and Maidstone are key historic and administrative towns situated along its banks. In terms of population, which is the largest city in North America? Mexico City. Mexico City, the capital of Mexico, holds the distinction of being the most populous city in North America. Its vast metropolitan area is a major economic, cultural, and political hub. Which composer wrote the Hebrides Overture? Felix Mendelssohn. The Hebrides Overture, also known as Fingal's Cave, is a famous concert overture composed by Felix Mendelssohn. Inspired by his visit to Scotland in 1829, it is renowned for its evocative musical depiction of the sea and landscapes. Who was the Roman god of trickery and thieves? Mercury. Mercury was the Roman god of financial gain, commerce, poetry, eloquence, messages, travelers, boundaries, luck, trickery, and thieves. He was often depicted with winged sandals and a caduceus, analogous to the Greek god Hermes. Which bird is known in the USA as a pigeon hawk? Merlin. The merlin, Falco columbarius, is a small species of falcon from the northern hemisphere, known for its swift flight and hunting prowess. In North America, it is sometimes colloquially referred to as a pigeon hawk, due to its similar size and hunting style to a pigeon, though it primarily preys on smaller birds. What is the current name for what used to be the Indian city of Madras? Chennai. Madras, a major city on India's Coromandel coast, was officially renamed Chennai in 1996. This change was part of a broader movement in India to revert to indigenous names, reflecting local identity and moving away from colonial appellations. Chennai is the capital of Tamil Nadu state and a significant economic and cultural hub. Which city was previously called Leopoldville? Kinshasa. Kinshasa, the capital and largest city of the Democratic Republic of Congo, was founded as Leopoldville in 1881 by Henry Morton Stanley, named after King Leopold II of Belgium. The city was renamed Kinshasa in 1966, following the Congo's independence from Belgium, as part of a post-colonial Africanization effort. Which country was once called Upper Peru? Bolivia. Bolivia was historically known as Upper Peru during the Spanish colonial period. It achieved independence in 1825 and was subsequently named in honor of Simón Bolívar, a pivotal leader in the South American independence movements. An annual festival in Bayreuth in Germany celebrates which composer? Wagner. The Bayreuth Festival, an annual music festival held in Bayreuth, Germany, is dedicated exclusively to the performance of operas by the 19th-century German composer Richard Wagner. Founded by Wagner himself in 1876, it remains a significant cultural event. What is the state capital of Louisiana? Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge serves as the capital city of the U.S. state of Louisiana, located on the eastern bank of the Mississippi River. It is a significant center for petrochemical industries, research, and healthcare in the southern United States. What is the world's largest bird of prey? Andean condor. The Andean condor is one of the largest flying birds globally and the largest bird of prey by wingspan and weight. Native to the Andes Mountains and Pacific coasts of South America, this scavenger plays a crucial role in its ecosystem and is a national symbol for several South American countries. Which birds are classified as strigiformes? Owls. Strigiformes is the order of birds that encompasses all species of owls. These nocturnal birds of prey are characterized by their upright stance, broad head, binocular vision, and silent flight, making them highly adapted hunters in diverse environments. Who were the two brothers of Zeus? Poseidon and Hades. In Greek mythology, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades were the three most powerful Olympian gods, sons of the titans Cronus and Rhea. After overthrowing their father, they divided the cosmos. Zeus ruled the sky, Poseidon the sea, and Hades the underworld. In Germanic mythology, what sort of monster was Fafnir? Dragon. Fafnir is a significant figure in Norse mythology, initially a dwarf who transformed into a dragon to guard a cursed hoard of gold. He is famously slain by the hero Sigurd, who subsequently gains his treasure and wisdom by tasting Fafnir's blood and heart. Which hero saved Andromeda from the sea monster Cetus? Perseus. Perseus is a renowned hero in Greek mythology, famous for beheading Medusa. He rescued Andromeda, daughter of King Cepheus and Queen Cassiopeia of Ethiopia, from the sea monster Cetus, which was sent to ravage the kingdom as divine punishment. Which American general in World War I was nicknamed Black Jack? John J. Pershing. General John J. Pershing commanded the American Expeditionary Forces, AEF, in World War I. His nickname, Black Jack, originated from his service with African American regiments early in his career and became widely known during his military service. What was the Roman name for the city of Paris? Lutetia. The Roman settlement that eventually became Paris was known as Lutetia, or more fully, Lutetia Parisiorum. Founded by the Parisii, a Gallic tribe, the city was conquered by Julius Caesar in 52 BCE and evolved into a significant Roman administrative and economic center. Who wrote the play, Racing Demon? David Hare. David Hare is a distinguished British playwright and screenwriter known for his political and social commentary. Racing Demon, 1990, explores the challenges faced by the Church of England in contemporary society. Which secret establishment was known as Station X during the Second World War? Bletchley Park. Bletchley Park, located in Buckinghamshire, England, was the central site for British codebreakers during World War II. It was crucial in deciphering the Enigma and Lorentz ciphers, significantly contributing to Allied victory. What is the area of a right-angled triangle whose sides measure 3, 4, and 5 centimeters? 6 square centimeters. The sides 3, 4, and 5 centimeters form a Pythagorean triplet, indicating a right-angled triangle. The area of a right-angled triangle is calculated as 1/2 base height, which is 1/2 3 centimeters times 4 centimeters equals 6 square centimeters. Which Asian nation was the first to make it illegal to smoke in public or to sell tobacco? Bhutan. Bhutan holds the distinction of being the first country in the world to completely ban the sale of tobacco and smoking in public places, implementing this comprehensive prohibition in 2004. This landmark legislation reflects Bhutan's commitment to public health and its gross national happiness philosophy. The sweet-tasting root of which plant is sometimes known as Spanish? Licorice. Licorice, Glycyrrhiza glabra, is a leguminous plant whose root is known for its distinctive sweet flavor. It has been used for centuries in traditional medicine and confectionery, sometimes referred to as Spanish, due to its historical association with cultivation in Spain. Which nerve is the longest and widest in the human body? Sciatic nerve. The sciatic nerve is the longest and widest single nerve in the human body, extending from the lower back through the hip and down each leg. It provides motor and sensory functions to the lower extremities and is a critical component of the peripheral nervous system. Where in the human body is the anatomical snuff box located? Hand. The anatomical snuff box is a triangular depression located on the radial, thumb, side of the back of the hand. It is bordered by tendons of the thumb muscles and is medically significant as it allows for palpation of the scaphoid bone and radial artery. Which chemical element can exist in white, red, violet, or black allotropic forms? Phosphorus. Phosphorus is a fascinating chemical element known for its various allotropic forms, including white, red, violet, and black phosphorus. These allotropes exhibit distinct physical and chemical properties due to differences in their atomic arrangements, with white phosphorus being highly reactive and toxic. Which noble gas is the most abundant in Earth's atmosphere? Argon. Argon, is the most abundant noble gas in Earth's atmosphere, making up approximately 0.93% of its volume. It is chemically inert, meaning it does not readily react with other elements, and is widely used in applications such as incandescent lighting and welding as an inert shielding gas. What passing bells for these who die as cattle, is the opening line of which notable poem? Anthem for Doomed Youth. This poignant line opens Wilfred Owen's Anthem for Doomed Youth, a powerful anti-war poem written during World War I. The poem laments the horrific and dehumanizing conditions faced by soldiers, contrasting traditional funerary rites with the brutal realities of battlefield deaths. Which celebrated poem, Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard, was composed in 1750 in the village of Stoke Porges? Thomas Gray's Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard. Thomas Gray's Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard is a seminal work of 18th-century English poetry, famously completed in 1750 in Stoke Porges, Buckinghamshire. The poem meditates on death, memory, and the unfulfilled potential of ordinary rural folk buried in the churchyard, profoundly influencing subsequent Romantic literature. Joan of Kent, also known as the Fair Maid of Kent, was the mother of which King of England? Richard II. Joan of Kent was a prominent figure in 14th-century English history, known for her beauty and political influence. She was the mother of Richard II, who reigned as King of England from 1377 to 1399, succeeding his grandfather Edward III. Asparagus Island lies off the coast of which English county? Cornwall. Asparagus Island is a small, uninhabited tidal island located off the Lizard Peninsula in Cornwall, England. It is named for the wild asparagus, Asparagus prostratus, that grows there and is accessible on foot from Kynance Cove during low tide. The 2 Minutes Hate is featured in which novel of the 20th century? 1984, 1984. The 2 Minutes Hate is a daily ritual in George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984. It serves as a powerful propaganda tool, psychologically manipulating the citizens of Oceania to direct their negative emotions, particularly hatred, towards designated enemies of the state. The novel is a seminal work in dystopian literature, exploring themes of totalitarianism, surveillance, and individual freedom. Lieutenant Pinkerton is a character in which opera by Puccini? Madame Butterfly. Madame Butterfly is an opera by Giacomo Puccini, first performed in 1904. It tells the tragic story of a young Japanese geisha, Seo-Seo-san, Madame Butterfly, and an American naval officer, Lieutenant B.F. Pinkerton. The opera is renowned for its beautiful arias and its exploration of themes of love, betrayal, and cultural clash. The bridal chorus, also known as Here Comes the Bride, appears in which opera by Wagner? Lohengrin. The bridal chorus, commonly known as Here Comes the Bride, is a famous march from Richard Wagner's 1850 opera Lohengrin. It is traditionally played as the bride's entrance music at weddings. The piece has become one of the most recognizable and widely used melodies in Western culture for wedding ceremonies. On which of London's tube lines do trains reach the greatest speeds? Metropolitan. The Metropolitan line is one of the oldest lines on the London Underground network. Due to longer stretches between stations and fewer curves, its trains can achieve higher average speeds compared to other tube lines. It serves both central London and suburban areas, connecting the city to parts of Buckinghamshire and Hertfordshire. Which saint lived on a small platform at the top of a pillar in Aleppo for 37 years? Saint Simeon Stylites. Saint Simeon Stylites was an early Christian ascetic saint who achieved fame for living atop a small platform on a pillar near Aleppo, Syria, for 37 years in the 5th century CE. His extreme form of asceticism, known as stylitism, attracted many followers and pilgrims seeking his blessings and advice. Saint Simeon's pillar became a significant pilgrimage site. What is secreted by parotid glands? Saliva. The parotid glands are the largest of the major salivary glands in the human body, located on either side of the face in front of the ears. They produce serous saliva, which is rich in enzymes like amylase, essential for the initial breakdown of carbohydrates during digestion. This saliva also helps lubricate food and maintains oral hygiene. Which 1985 treaty led to the abolition of border controls in much of Europe? Schengen Agreement. The Schengen Agreement, signed in 1985 in Schengen, Luxembourg, is a treaty among European countries that led to the creation of Europe's Schengen area. This area functions as a single jurisdiction for international travel, effectively abolishing internal border controls for people traveling between member states. It is a cornerstone of European integration and free movement. What function distinguishes a gargoyle from a grotesque? Rainwater drainage. A gargoyle is a carved stone figure, typically grotesque, with a spout designed to convey water from a roof away from the side of a building, thereby preventing rainwater from running down masonry. In contrast, a grotesque is a similar decorative carving that does not serve any functional purpose for water drainage. Both are common in medieval architecture, particularly on Gothic cathedrals. Which body and its moons were visited and studied by the New Horizons probe in July? Pluto. The New Horizons probe conducted a historic flyby of Pluto in July 2015, providing the first close-up images and scientific data of the dwarf planet and its moons. This mission significantly advanced our understanding of the outer solar system. What is the name of the mother craft of Philae, the probe currently sitting on Comet 67P? Rosetta. The Rosetta mission, launched by the European Space Agency, was a space probe that performed a detailed study of Comet 67P, Churyumov-Gerasimenko. Its lander, Philae, made the first ever soft landing on a comet's nucleus, providing unprecedented data. Part of the Pope's regalia, what is the more common name for the piscatory ring? Fisherman's ring. The piscatory ring, or fisherman's ring, is a signet ring worn by the Pope as a symbol of his office, representing Saint Peter as a fisherman. It is traditionally destroyed upon the death or resignation of a pope to prevent its misuse. Which physical quantity is calculated by multiplying a body's mass by its velocity? Momentum. Momentum is a fundamental physical quantity in mechanics, defined as the product of an object's mass and its velocity. It is a vector quantity, meaning it has both magnitude and direction, and its conservation is a key principle in physics. Which 5-word title is engraved on the letterbox at 10 Downing Street? First Lord of the Treasury. The title, First Lord of the Treasury, is the formal designation for the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, reflecting the historical role of the head of government in managing public finances. The Prime Minister resides at 10 Downing Street, which is officially the office of the First Lord of the Treasury. Who led the ill-fated expedition which set sail in 1845 in HMS Erebus and HMS Terror? Sir John Franklin. Sir John Franklin led a British expedition in 1845 to navigate the Northwest Passage, sailing with HMS Erebus and HMS Terror. The entire expedition was lost, and its mysterious disappearance became one of the most enduring riddles in exploration history, with wreckage only discovered much later. Which of Beethoven's symphonies was originally dedicated to Napoleon Bonaparte? The Third Symphony, also known as the Eroica Symphony. Ludwig van Beethoven initially dedicated his Third Symphony, Symphony No. 3 in E-flat major, Opus 55, known as the Eroica, to Napoleon Bonaparte, whom he initially admired as a liberator. However, upon Napoleon's self-proclamation as emperor, Beethoven famously rescinded the dedication, expressing his disillusionment. Which defeat of Napoleon's navy inspired the title of Joseph Haydn's 1798 inches Nelson Mass? The Battle of the Nile, also known as the Battle of Aboukir Bay. Haydn's Missar in Angustes, Mass for Troubled Times, acquired the nickname Nelson Mass, following Admiral Horatio Nelson's decisive victory over Napoleon's fleet at the Battle of the Nile in August 1798. This significant naval engagement severely crippled French ambitions in Egypt and the Middle East, altering the course of the Napoleonic Wars. Which is the only species of penguin typically found in the wild north of the equator? The Galapagos penguin. The Galapagos penguin, Sphoniscus mundiculus, is the only penguin species found north of the equator, inhabiting the Galapagos Islands. Its survival in this tropical region is possible due to the cold Humboldt Current, which brings nutrient-rich waters and cooler temperatures to the islands. What is the specialized skill of a funambulist? Tightrope or wire walking. A funambulist is an individual who performs the art of tightrope walking, balancing on a thin rope or wire stretched at a height. This demanding skill requires exceptional balance, concentration, and physical dexterity, often seen in circuses and performance arts. Which religious denomination refers to its places of worship as kingdom halls? Jehovah's Witnesses. Kingdom halls serve as the principal places of worship and meeting facilities for Jehovah's Witnesses worldwide. These venues are used for regular congregational meetings, Bible study, and training for their public ministry, rather than for traditional elaborate rituals or ceremonies. What is the well-known common name for the flower Myosotis? Forget-me-not. Myosotis is the botanical genus for a popular group of flowering plants commonly known as forget-me-nots. These small, typically blue flowers are widely recognized for their delicate appearance and their symbolic association with remembrance and enduring love. In which European Union country did Havarti cheese originate? Denmark. Havarti is a semi-hard, creamy Danish cheese with a mild flavor, named after the farm Hanna Nielsen established in the mid-19th century in Denmark. It is characterized by its small, irregular holes and a buttery aroma, making it a popular table cheese. What new name did English Heritage adopt in April 2015, mirroring its Scottish counterpart? Historic England. English Heritage, a charity that manages over 400 historic buildings and sites, rebranded its heritage protection and listing functions as Historic England in April 2015. This change aimed to clarify its role and focus, distinguishing it from the remaining charitable functions of English Heritage. Which island in the Hebrides is renowned as its most prolific whiskey-producing island, boasting 8 active distilleries? Islay. Islay, an island in the Inner Hebrides of Scotland, is famous worldwide for its distinctive peated single-malt Scotch whiskies. With 8 active distilleries, it is a significant contributor to Scotland's renowned whisky industry and a major tourist attraction. What type of chemical compound facilitates the transmission of social information among individuals of the same species? Pheromone. Pheromones are chemical substances released by animals that influence the behavior of other animals of the same species. They play crucial roles in communication, including attracting mates, marking territory, and signaling danger, across a wide range of species from insects to mammals. What 2-character alphanumeric sequence precedes the model names of all Airbus civilian aircraft? A3. Airbus, a leading global aerospace manufacturer, designates its civilian aircraft models with a consistent naming convention starting with A3. For example, popular models include the A320, A330, A350, and A380, indicating a clear product lineage and branding strategy. Which Italian physicist and chemist is credited with inventing the first electric battery? Alessandro Volta. Alessandro Volta invented the voltaic pile in 1800, which was the first true electrical battery. This groundbreaking invention provided a continuous source of electric current, revolutionizing the study of electricity and paving the way for numerous technological advancements. Which UK Prime Minister wrote 19 novels including Coningsby, Sybil, and Endymion? Benjamin Disraeli. Benjamin Disraeli was a prominent British statesman who served as Prime Minister twice during the Victorian era. Beyond his political career, he was a prolific novelist, whose works like Coningsby and Sybil are considered significant literary contributions offering insights into 19th-century British society. What is the specific term for a female ruff? Reeve. The ruff, Calidri pugnax, is a wading bird known for its distinctive breeding plumage in males. In ornithology, the female of this species is specifically referred to as a reeve, differentiating her from the more flamboyantly feathered male. The probability of finding what is predicted by the Drake equation? Extraterrestrial civilization. The Drake equation is a probabilistic argument formulated by Frank Drake in 1961 to estimate the number of active, communicative extraterrestrial civilizations in the Milky Way galaxy. It considers various astrophysical and biological factors to predict the potential prevalence of intelligent life beyond Earth. Who described his troops, the British Army, as the scum of the earth? Duke of Wellington. Arthur Wellesley, the first Duke of Wellington, famously used this harsh description for his British Army troops, acknowledging their often rough and undisciplined origins. Despite this, he led them to significant victories, most notably against Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo, highlighting his complex relationship with his forces. Which beautiful youth of Greek myth was killed by a boar while out hunting? Adonis. Adonis is a central figure in Greek mythology, renowned for his exceptional beauty and being a lover of the goddess Aphrodite. His tragic death, caused by a wild boar during a hunting expedition, is a poignant tale frequently referenced in classical literature and art, symbolizing ephemeral beauty and mortality. In the world of computing, what does ISP stand for? Internet Service Provider. An Internet Service Provider, ISP, is an organization that provides services for accessing, using, or participating in the Internet. ISPs can be commercial, community-owned, non-profit, or privately owned, and they provide the connectivity and infrastructure that enables users to browse websites, send emails, and access online content. Which wading bird has varieties called whooping and demoiselle? Crane. Cranes are a family of large, long-legged, and long-necked wading birds found on all continents except Antarctica and South America. Notable species include the whooping crane, one of the rarest birds in North America, and the demoiselle crane, known for its elegant appearance and migratory patterns across Eurasia and Africa. Which Turner Prize-winning artist has an alter ego named Claire? Grayson Perry. Grayson Perry is a renowned English contemporary artist known for his ceramic vases, tapestries, and cross-dressing. He often appears in public as his female alter ego, Claire, whom he describes as a transvestite potter. Perry won the Turner Prize in 2003, a prestigious award for a British artist under 50. Which African capital has a name meaning, new flower? Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa is the capital and largest city of Ethiopia. Its name, in Amharic, literally translates to new flower, bestowed by Empress Taito Betol in 1886. The city serves as a major political and economic hub, housing the headquarters of the African Union and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. Which word, now used loosely, originally described rum diluted with water? Grog. The term, grog, originated in the British Royal Navy in the 18th century, referring to rum diluted with water, sometimes with added sugar and lime juice. It was introduced by Admiral Edward Vernon, known as Old Grog, due to his grogram cloak, to curb drunkenness among sailors. The term is now used more loosely to describe any alcoholic drink, especially one that is strong. Who was the wealthy king of Lydia renowned for his immense riches? Croesus. Croesus was the last king of Lydia, ruling from 560 to 546 BC. He is famously known for his legendary wealth, which gave rise to the idiom, as rich as Croesus, and for consulting the oracle of Delphi. Who famously rode from Boston to Lexington to warn American colonial forces of the approaching British troops? Paul Revere. Paul Revere's ride on April 18, 1775, alerted colonial militias in Massachusetts about the movement of British forces before the battles of Lexington and Concord. This event was a pivotal moment in the lead-up to the American Revolutionary War. What phenomenon describes the bending of waves around obstacles or the spreading of waves after passing through an opening? Diffraction. Diffraction is a fundamental wave phenomenon where waves spread out as they pass through an aperture or around an obstacle. This effect is observable with various types of waves, including light, sound, and water waves. Which is the sole stretch of coastline designated as a national park in Britain? Pembrokeshire Coast. The Pembrokeshire Coast National Park, established in 1952, is unique in Britain for being primarily a coastal national park. It protects diverse landscapes, including rugged cliffs, sandy beaches, and estuaries, along with significant wildlife and cultural heritage. Which Scottish loch is deepest at the maximum depth? Loch Ness. Loch Ness is one of Scotland's largest and most famous freshwater lochs, renowned worldwide for the legend of its monster. While it is certainly a very deep loch, Loch Morar actually holds the record as the deepest loch in Scotland, reaching a maximum depth of 310 meters. What is the correct plural form of the noun, matrix? Matrices. The word, matrix, is derived from Latin, and its plural form, matrices, follows the classical Latin pluralization rule for nouns ending in ux or x. This pluralization is common in scientific and mathematical contexts, especially in linear algebra. From what illness did King George VI die? Lung cancer. King George VI, father of Queen Elizabeth II, reigned during World War II. He was a heavy smoker and developed lung cancer, leading to his death in 1952 at the age of 56. What is the collective term for Freemasons? A lodge. Freemasonry is one of the oldest fraternal organizations in the world, with its origins tracing back to the guilds of stonemasons. A lodge is the basic organizational unit of Freemasonry, where members meet and conduct their ceremonies. Philibeg is an alternative name for which item of traditional clothing? Kilt. The term philibeg or felirbeeg, meaning small plaid, refers to the modern style of kilt, which is only the lower half of the felir more or great kilt. It became popular in the 18th century as a more practical garment. In which French city does the Pont Saint-Benazet, also known as the Pont d'Avignon, only partly span the Rhône River? Avignon. The Pont Saint-Benazet, famously known as the Pont d'Avignon, is a medieval bridge in the city of Avignon, France. Built between 1171 and 1185, only 4 of its original 22 arches remain today, giving it the appearance of only partly spanning the Rhône River. In New York, which borough is linked with Staten Island by the Verrazano Narrows Bridge? Brooklyn. The Verrazano Narrows Bridge is a double-deck suspension bridge connecting Staten Island and Brooklyn in New York City. Opened in 1964, it was the world's longest suspension bridge at the time and remains a crucial transportation artery in the metropolitan area. Which bridge was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in July this year? The Forth Bridge. The Forth Bridge, a cantilever railway bridge in Scotland, was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in July 2015. It is recognized as an iconic example of 19th century engineering, specifically for its innovative design and structural significance. Followers of the Zoroastrian religion are commonly known by which name? Parsas. Parsas are an ethno-religious community primarily residing in India, who are adherents of Zoroastrianism. They are descendants of Persian Zoroastrians who migrated to the Indian subcontinent to escape religious persecution following the Muslim conquest of Persia. The 5 kiloseconds are significant articles of faith in which religion? Sikhism. The 5 kiloseconds, Kesh, Kandha, Kara, Kachera, Kirpan, are 5 articles of faith that Khalsa Sikhs are commanded to wear. These symbols collectively represent a Sikh's commitment to the faith and its principles, fostering a distinct religious identity. In Catholic theology, where do souls wait for the atonement of sins before entering heaven? Purgatory. In Roman Catholic doctrine, purgatory is an intermediate state where souls destined for heaven undergo purification to achieve the holiness necessary to enter God's presence. It is understood as a process of cleansing from the temporal punishment due to venial sins. Which animals are associated with the word lapine? Rabbits. The term lapine is an adjective used to refer to or characterize rabbits. It is derived from the Latin word lepus, meaning rabbit, and is commonly used in biological contexts or specific literary descriptions. Until 1968, which official held the power to censor British theatre? Lord Chamberlain. The Lord Chamberlain was historically responsible for the licensing and censorship of plays in British theatres from 1737 until the Theatres Act 1968. This role reflected the state's control over public performances, aiming to prevent sedition, blasphemy, or indecency. On a weather map, what do isoheights connect places of equal rainfall? Isoheights are isolines on a map that connect points of equal rainfall over a specified period. These lines are crucial in meteorology and hydrology for visualizing precipitation patterns and identifying areas with similar levels of rainfall. What was the first major battle of the English Civil War, which ended in a stalemate in 1642? Edgehill. The Battle of Edgehill, fought on October 23, 1642, was the first major pitched battle of the English Civil War. The battle's inconclusive outcome, characterized by heavy casualties on both sides, effectively marked a stalemate and prolonged the conflict. Which Archbishop of Canterbury was executed as an enemy of Parliament in 1645? William Laud. William Laud, Archbishop of Canterbury, was a staunch supporter of King Charles I and his high church policies. His perceived authoritarianism and efforts to impose Anglican uniformity led to his impeachment by Parliament and subsequent execution for treason in 1645, a significant event during the English Civil War. Which title was conferred upon Oliver Cromwell in 1653? Lord Protector. Oliver Cromwell was declared Lord Protector of the Commonwealth of England, Scotland, and Ireland in 1653 under the Instrument of Government. This title established him as the head of state during the interregnum period, giving him extensive executive powers and marking a crucial phase in British Republican history. Which is the largest of the Leeward Islands in the West Indies? Antigua. Antigua is recognized as the largest among the Leeward Islands, a group of islands forming part of the Lesser Antilles in the Caribbean. These islands are geographically and historically significant, often studied for their colonial past and unique ecosystems. Which intracontinental ridge system traverses Kenya from north to south? Great Rift Valley. The Great Rift Valley is a massive geological trench, approximately 6,000 kilometers in length, that cuts through Kenya from north to south. It is a critical geographical feature, home to numerous lakes, volcanoes, and diverse wildlife, representing a major tectonic plate boundary. What common physical feature is characteristic of all pinnipeds? Flippers. Pinnipeds are a diverse group of semi-aquatic marine mammals including seals, sea lions, and walruses. A defining physical characteristic common to all pinnipeds is the presence of flippers, which are specialized limbs adapted for efficient locomotion in aquatic environments. The hamadryas is a species of which type of monkey? Baboon. The hamadryas baboon, Papio hamadryas, is a species of baboon belonging to the Old World monkey family. Native to the Horn of Africa and the Arabian Peninsula, it is notable for its distinct social structure characterized by male-led harems. What type of mammal is a sika? Deer. The sika deer, Cervus nippon, is a species of deer native to East Asia, although it has been introduced to various parts of the world. Known for its distinct white spots during summer and its unique vocalizations, it is an important component of many forest ecosystems. What is the primary function of fibrin in human blood? A clotting agent. Fibrin is an insoluble protein that plays a crucial role in the process of blood coagulation, hemostasis. It forms a robust mesh-like network at the site of injury, trapping red blood cells and platelets to create a stable clot and prevent excessive blood loss. In which part of the human body is the deltoid muscle located? Shoulder. The deltoid is a large, triangular muscle that covers the shoulder joint, giving the shoulder its rounded contour. It is primarily responsible for the abduction of the arm, lifting it away from the body, and also assists in various other movements of the shoulder. What does the International Vehicle Registration Code GBZ represent? Gibraltar. International Vehicle Registration Codes are used to identify the country of registration of a vehicle in international traffic. GBZ is the specific code assigned to Gibraltar, a British overseas territory located at the southern tip of the Iberian Peninsula. Which now outlawed activity was historically referred to as the royal diversion? Cockfighting. Cockfighting, a blood sport involving two roosters fighting, has a long history, dating back thousands of years. It was historically popular in many cultures, including among European royalty, hence its occasional reference as the royal diversion. The practice is now outlawed in most parts of the world due to animal cruelty concerns. Which US city is commonly known by the nickname, Lost Wages? Las Vegas. Las Vegas, a major city in Nevada, USA, is renowned globally as a resort city, famous for its gambling, shopping, fine dining, entertainment, and nightlife. The nickname, Lost Wages, is a playful reference to its association with gambling, where visitors often lose money. Which prominent international political leader is widely known by the nickname, Bibi? Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu is a prominent Israeli politician who has served multiple terms as the Prime Minister of Israel, making him the longest-serving Prime Minister in the country's history. He is widely known by his nickname, Bibi, which is frequently used in media and by the public. What was the shared wartime nickname for both the British 7th Armoured Division and the 8th Army during World War II? Desert Rats. The Desert Rats was the popular nickname for the British 7th Armoured Division, renowned for its role in the North African campaign during World War II. The nickname was also sometimes applied to the entire British 8th Army due to their extensive operations in the Western Desert. The newspaper, The Sentinel, serves which city in the Midlands region? Stoke-on-Trent. The Sentinel is a prominent regional newspaper serving Stoke-on-Trent and the wider North Staffordshire and South Cheshire areas in the English Midlands. It provides local news, sports, and current affairs coverage for its readership. What name is given to the area of large country houses around Worksop? The Dukeries. The Dukeries is a historic area in Nottinghamshire, England, known for its concentration of large country estates and ducal seats, such as Welbeck Abbey and Clumber Park. These estates were historically associated with several ducal families. Which village became infamous for its wise men? Gotham. Gotham, a village in Nottinghamshire, England, is famous for the medieval tale of its wise men, who feigned madness to avoid the King's Highway passing through their village. This folklore inspired the naming of the fictional city of Gotham in the Batman comics. Where is England's most complete workhouse to be found? Southwell. The workhouse in Southwell, Nottinghamshire, is considered England's most complete surviving workhouse from the Victorian era. It offers significant insights into the lives of the poor and the social welfare system under the Poor Law Amendment Act of 1834. What is fused glass powder called? Enamel. Enamel is a material made by fusing powdered glass to a substrate, typically metal, by firing at high temperatures. This process creates a smooth, durable, and often colorful decorative coating used in jewelry, art, and industrial applications. Which black, igneous rock was used by the Mayans to make their sword blades? Obsidian. Obsidian is a naturally occurring volcanic glass formed as an extrusive igneous rock. Its sharp edges, formed when it breaks, made it a valuable material for cutting tools and weapons, including sword blades, by ancient civilizations like the Mayans and Aztecs. Which shellfish soup originated in the northeast of America? Chowder. Chowder is a type of rich, creamy soup, often containing seafood or vegetables. It originated in the northeastern United States, particularly New England, where clam chowder is a classic dish reflecting the region's abundant shellfish. What is the most eastern part of Massachusetts called? Cape Cod. Cape Cod is a hook-shaped peninsula in the easternmost part of Massachusetts, USA. It is a popular tourist destination known for its beaches, historic villages, and natural beauty. In 1962, who became Margot Fontaine's dance partner? Nureyev. Rudolf Nureyev became the iconic dance partner of prima ballerina Margot Fontaine in 1962, forming one of the most celebrated partnerships in ballet history. Their chemistry and artistry redefined ballet performances and brought widespread attention to the art form. Development of which aero engine sent Rolls-Royce into receivership in 1971? RB211. The RB211 was a groundbreaking turbofan aero engine developed by Rolls-Royce in the late 1960s. Its complex design and significant cost overruns led to severe financial difficulties, culminating in the company's receivership and subsequent nationalization of its aerospace division in 1971. This event remains a major case study in industrial history and project management challenges. Christopher Marlowe was murdered while playing at tables. What is tables now called? Backgammon. Christopher Marlowe was a prominent Elizabethan playwright, an important contemporary of William Shakespeare, known for works such as Dr. Faustus. His death in 1593, shrouded in mystery, occurred while he was reportedly playing tables. Tables is the archaic term for a board game that is now known as backgammon. What is the term for a castrated chicken? Capon. A capon is a castrated male chicken, typically raised for its tender meat and larger size. The surgical procedure, known as caponization, prevents the development of male secondary characteristics and promotes fat deposition, resulting in a more succulent and flavorful bird. The Royal Canal is located in which capital city of the British Isles? Dublin. The Royal Canal is one of Ireland's two major canals, connecting the River Liffey in Dublin to the River Shannon in the west. Constructed in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, it served as a vital waterway for transport and trade across the country. Which canal connects the Grand Union Canal to the Limehouse Cut in London? Regent's Canal. The Regent's Canal is a significant waterway in London, stretching 13.8 kilometers across the northern part of the city. It links the Paddington arm of the Grand Union Canal to the Limehouse Cut, providing an important route for commercial and leisure traffic through the capital since its completion in 1820. Which geographical area is separated from the rest of England by the Royal Military Canal? Romney Marsh. The Royal Military Canal, a defensive fortification, was constructed between 1804 and 1809 during the Napoleonic Wars. It runs for 28 miles along the northern edge of Romney Marsh in Kent, serving as a strategic barrier to defend against a potential French invasion. Which Baltic country was invaded by the Soviet Union in November 1939? Finland. In November 1939, the Soviet Union invaded Finland, initiating the Winter War. The conflict arose from Soviet demands for territorial concessions and military bases, which Finland resisted, leading to a fierce but ultimately unequal struggle. The largest tank engagement in history commenced in July 1943 at which location? Kursk. The Battle of Kursk, fought in July and August 1943, was a pivotal engagement on the Eastern Front of World War II, known as the largest tank battle in history. The Soviet victory at Kursk inflicted irreparable damage on the German Wehrmacht's offensive capabilities, marking a crucial turning point in the war. The Arabic phrase, "Assalamu alaikum," is often abbreviated to which single word? Salam. As-salamu alaikum is a widely used Arabic greeting meaning, peace be upon you. Its shortened form, salam, which literally means peace, is commonly used as an informal greeting or farewell in various Arabic-speaking and Muslim communities across the globe. Which Hawaiian word serves as both a greeting and a farewell? Aloha. Aloha is a fundamental Hawaiian word imbued with profound cultural significance, embodying concepts of love, peace, compassion, and mercy. Beyond its literal use as hello and goodbye, it represents a spirit of respectful and loving interaction, crucial to Hawaiian culture. What Hebrew word is commonly used for both greeting and farewell? Shalom. Shalom is a ubiquitous Hebrew word meaning peace, harmony, wholeness, and completeness. It is widely used in Israel and Jewish communities worldwide as both a greeting, hello, and a farewell, goodbye, conveying a wish for peace and well-being upon the addressed individual. Which region of France is named after the apple brandy distilled there? Calvados. Calvados is both a department in the Normandy region of France and the name of an apple brandy, eau de vie de Cid, produced there. The region's name is derived from the brandy, showcasing a strong link between geographical identity and agricultural production. Manchester cloth is another name for which textile material? Corduroy. Corduroy, known for its distinctive parallel ribs or cords, was historically associated with Manchester, England, a significant textile manufacturing hub. Hence, it was sometimes referred to as Manchester cloth, reflecting the city's industrial heritage in textile production. Which peninsula forms the southern boundary of the Gulf of Mexico? Yucatan Peninsula. The Yucatan Peninsula is a large peninsula in southeastern Mexico, extending into the Gulf of Mexico and separating it from the Caribbean Sea. It is a significant geographical feature known for its Mayan archaeological sites and unique karstic landscape. In which U.S. state does the Mississippi River flow into the sea, Gulf of Mexico? Louisiana. The Mississippi River, one of the world's major river systems, forms a vast delta as it empties into the Gulf of Mexico. This delta is predominantly located within the state of Louisiana, contributing significantly to its unique geography and ecology. Which British designer is credited with popularizing the miniskirt and hot pants? Mary Quant. Mary Quant was a pivotal figure in 1960s fashion, widely credited with popularizing the miniskirt and hot pants. Her innovative designs democratized fashion and symbolized the youth cultural revolution of the era, significantly influencing global style and women's liberation. Which Chancellor of the Exchequer introduced old age pensions and national insurance in the United Kingdom? Lloyd George. David Lloyd George, as Chancellor of the Exchequer in the early 20th century, played a crucial role in establishing Britain's welfare state. He introduced landmark legislation like the Old Age Pensions Act of 1908 and the National Insurance Act of 1911, laying the groundwork for social security and public welfare. Who made the statement, "There is no finer investment than putting milk in babies"? Churchill. Winston Churchill, the iconic British Prime Minister, is known for many powerful and memorable statements. This particular quote emphasizes the importance of child welfare and public health, reflecting his belief in investing in the future generation and the foundational aspects of societal well-being. Which country adopted an all-green flag in November 1977? Libya. Libya adopted a plain green flag in 1977 under the rule of Muammar Gaddafi, symbolizing the Green Revolution and his political philosophy, often referred to as the Third Universal Theory. It remained the national flag until the 2011 civil war, after which the earlier monarchical flag was reinstated. In which year did Apollo 8 become the first manned mission to orbit the moon? 1968. Apollo 8, launched in December 1968, was a pivotal mission in the space race, marking the first time humans orbited the moon. The mission demonstrated advanced capabilities for space travel and paved the way for the Apollo 11 lunar landing less than a year later, significantly advancing human space exploration. Where is the United Kingdom's National Space Centre located? Leicester. The National Space Centre in Leicester, England, is a leading visitor attraction and educational resource dedicated to space science and astronomy. It houses a planetarium, rockets, and various interactive exhibits, promoting public engagement with space exploration and scientific discovery. In which Japanese form of Buddhism is meditation most important? Zen. Zen Buddhism, a Mahayana school, originated in China, as Chan Buddhism, and later spread to Japan. Its core practice emphasizes zazen, seated meditation, to achieve enlightenment, satori, and direct experiential insight. The word, stannary, refers to which metal? Tin. The term, stannary, originates from the Latin, stannum, meaning tin. It traditionally refers to a district or area where tin is mined, or the legal rights and regulations associated with tin mining, particularly prominent in regions like Cornwall, England. There are 4 types of wetland: swamp, marsh, bog, and what? Fen. Wetlands are vital ecosystems characterized by water-saturated soils. The four primary types are swamps, forested wetlands, marshes, herbaceous wetlands, bogs, acidic, peat-forming wetlands fed by precipitation, and fens, alkaline, peat-forming wetlands fed by groundwater or surface water. In standard English, which three letters convert a verb into a gerund? Ing. In English grammar, a gerund is a non-finite verb form that functions as a noun, typically ending in ing. For example, in swimming is my favorite activity, swimming is a gerund derived from the verb to swim. Which of his marshals did Napoleon call the bravest of the brave? Ney. Michel Ney, one of Napoleon Bonaparte's most famous marshals, earned the moniker, the bravest of the brave, for his exceptional courage and leadership in numerous battles, including the retreat from Moscow and Waterloo. His military career was marked by daring maneuvers and unwavering loyalty to Napoleon. In which book does a boar named Old Major inspire a revolution? Animal Farm. George Orwell's Animal Farm is a dystopian allegorical novella published in 1945. Old Major, an elderly boar, introduces the animals to the idea of an animal-led revolution against their human oppressors, laying the philosophical groundwork for the subsequent events that critique totalitarianism. Which continent was traversed by Burke and Wills during their 1860 expedition? Australia. The Burke and Wills expedition was a significant but ill-fated Australian exploration in 1860–61. Robert O'Hara Burke and William John Wills were the first Europeans to cross the Australian continent from south to north, although both perished on the return journey due to navigational errors and inadequate planning. Which two future U.S. presidents were present in Dallas on the day of John F. Kennedy's assassination? Lyndon B. Johnson and Richard Nixon. On November 22, 1963, Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson was in the motorcade with President Kennedy and was sworn in as president aboard Air Force One later that day. Former Vice President Richard Nixon was also in Dallas on the day of the assassination for a business meeting, although not directly involved in the official motorcade events. Which element was discovered by Henry Cavendish? Hydrogen. Henry Cavendish, an 18th-century British natural philosopher and chemist, is credited with discovering hydrogen in 1766. He accurately described its properties and demonstrated that it produced water when burned, referring to it as inflammable air, before Antoine Lavoisier named it hydrogen. What are the periods of the year characterized by distinctive climatic conditions called? Seasons. Seasons are divisions of the year marked by changes in weather, ecology, and the amount of daylight. They are primarily caused by the Earth's axial tilt relative to its orbit around the Sun, leading to variations in the directness and duration of solar radiation received at different latitudes throughout the year. Diplopodology is the scientific study of which type of multi-legged arthropods? Millipedes. Diplopodology is a branch of zoology dedicated to the study of millipedes, which belong to the class Diplopoda within the phylum Arthropoda. Millipedes are characterized by having two pairs of legs on most body segments and typically feed on decaying plant matter. In astronomy, an event horizon surrounds which type of celestial region? A black hole. An event horizon is a boundary in space-time beyond which events cannot affect an outside observer. It is most commonly associated with black holes, where the gravitational pull is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape once it crosses this boundary. Which Chinese philosophical system translates into English as wind, water? Feng Shui. Feng Shui is an ancient Chinese practice focused on arranging spaces to achieve harmony and balance with the natural environment. Its name, Feng Shui, directly translates to wind-water, reflecting the core elements of its principles. What are the water buses or water taxis in Venice called? Vaporetto. Vaporetti are public water buses that constitute the primary mode of public transportation in Venice, Italy. Operated by ACTV, they navigate the city's canals and lagoon, connecting various islands and areas.